Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cardboard Herald's Off the Table, your Monday morning tabletop gaming news, community, and questions in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Jack, and let's get the show started. Our first news story is that Asmodee will be doing US distribution of Cool Mini or Not games now. And they've been doing European distribution in certain countries for a little while now, but it looks like this is just one more step towards their complete cardboard domination. And I know, it could be a little bit scary to see this mega corporation form, but at the same time, I've noticed over the past couple of years that Asmodee has been plucking up one company after another that it has left a bit of a void, some room for smaller companies to grow. So, maybe this is going to ultimately shake up to be a good thing. Next up, we have the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund 2019 auction up on BoardGameGeek. This is an auction that everyone can participate in to support a good cause. It was founded by Tom Vasel years ago, shortly after he tragically lost his son. Jack Vasel Memorial Fund provides relief to people in the community who are affected by tragedy and loss and disaster. So go and support the thing. Continuing our Board Game Geek news, we have the Golden Geek Award voting up right now, and this is one of my favorite awards of the year. This is a way that any BGG user can recognize some of the best aspects of the hobby and the community, because there's voting for games of all type, artists, and even content creators. So you should go out there and cast your vote and participate. But for the top award, the Game of the Year finalists, we have Architects of the West Kingdom, Brass Birmingham, Chronicles of Crime, Coimbra, Detective, A Modern Crime Board Game, Everdell, Gugong, The Mind, The Quacks of Quedlinburg, Rising Sun, Root, Teotihuacan? Someone please help me and give me the complete pronunciation rundown in the comments. That's Pretty Clever, Underwater Cities, and Welcome To. It's interesting that in spite of all its popularity, Keyforge isn't on the Board Game of the Year list. And you may say, aha, but it's a card game, and it is on the card game list. But The Mind is on both of them. Anyway, so if you want to recognize cool stuff, then go out and vote. These awards like this, the Spiel, even the Cardboard Herald Critical Hits Award, they mean something. All right, we got a couple announcements and updates here. Floodgate Games announced Holi, the Color Festival. Now, this is designed by up-and-coming rising star of the board game design scene, Julio Nazario, and has artwork by legendary artist Vincent Dutrait. And if you don't know Vincent Dutrait, man, get yourself a copy of that remake of Medici, or get Lewis and Clark. At least look at the things, because they are among the best looking board games I've ever seen, and Vincent Dutrait is easily like top 5 favorite artists who's in the biz right now. And we hardly know anything about this game at this point, other than we have the cover art, and I can tell you that I know that the designer, the artist, and the publisher are on point, so I'm really excited. Then we got this announcement here. USAopoly says that they're going to bring you the die-hard Nakatomi Heist 1 vs. all game that you have all been craving. This is brought to you by the fine folks who are also bringing along Talisman, the Kingdom Hearts edition. I mean, this could be great, right? But on the other hand, it probably is going to turn out like every other board game based off of some ill-advised action movie nostalgic property. At least it was a great movie. But let's get to some exciting stuff, because Fantasy Flight Games had an hour-long live stream breaking down all kinds of stuff having to do with Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. This is the game that I am most looking forward to in 2019, and we got all kinds of stuff here. We got to look at the 6 characters, confirmation that it's 14 adventures, it's at about an hour per session, maybe a little bit more than that, and we got some new details about how the app works, including the very interesting sounding threat system. And this is the next campaign game that I want to dive into. I know, as part of the Cardboard Herald, I have spoken ill of campaign games in the past. Not to say that you shouldn't be playing campaign games, just don't get too many of them. Don't give yourself too much baggage. Don't give yourself too many rocks in your rucksack. You know what I'm saying? But this one, I've cleared my slate. I want a new campaign game, and I am really looking forward to this because Fantasy Flight has done excellent work with the Lord of the Rings property in the past. I just keep feeling the hype calling to me, like a Nazgul across the ford beckoning me to Mordor, and I am saying to it, by Elbereth and Luthien the Fair, you shall have neither mug nor me! Who am I kidding? I'm totally hyped for this game, and I would gladly follow it to Mordor. So let's slide over from news to our highlight for today, which is of Root, the Underworld expansion up on Kickstarter right now. And you know me, I'm a huge fan of Root. Not only do I think it's a damn good game, but I think it's one of the most imaginative and well-illustrated settings in board games. And so I asked Kyle Ferrin, the artist of Root, to come onto the show and let us know how he makes choices about balancing the individual versus faction personality when you are dealing with a game setting that has no named characters.
The balance question is interesting because I think, if I understand your question, it's how do you make your characters look like individuals when they have to be a part of a group dynamic? So part of that is just when I think about illustrating an individual character, I'm thinking about making them relatable and making them fun. And the personality part, I think, comes from people identifying with those characters. So when you have a faction like the Eerie in Root, they're the former leaders of the forest, and they're kind of mean. So I drew a lot of characters for the Eerie that were mostly hawks and owls and creatures with severe profiles, and none of them are smiling that I can think of. But some of the character art on the cards that has birds are a little bit more non-specific, like they don't look as severe, and so in that way I think I tried to balance, the personality of the group. The Eerie is that they're mean and a little bit regimented and maybe even a little bit cruel, but the individuals have to kind of stand on their own too. So had the leaders of the Eerie, like the charismatic leader is an eagle and the despot is a vulture. And I knew those kind of had to look different, but I focused on making them appealing by themselves, so they wouldn't have to rely on the context of other characters to be interesting. And I think if I do that with all the characters, then it works more cohesively. They look like they all belong together a little bit better.
Thanks to Kyle for coming on to the show. You can check out our review of Root and the Kickstarter for Root, the Underworld expansion, in the links in the description below. So that is going to do it for most of the show, but I like to leave you with a question here. And we've talked about a bunch of 2018 games, from the Golden Geek Awards to Root itself. So I want to ask you, what are your favorite games of 2018? I mean, we're working on our critical hits of the year still right now, and I know we need to get onto it because we're already through a quarter of 2019, but I wanted to make sure that I got games played. I'm up in Alaska. It's hard to get games up here. Cut me some slack. But I do want to know, what were your favorite games and which ones do you think are going to have legs for the next several years? So start a discussion in the comments below. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you want to help support this show, then just spread the word. Get people watching and let us know what you want to see. So there are news topics going on in your neck of the board game woods, or do you have certain things that you want to see highlighted? Get in touch with us. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald, and I'll talk to you next week. If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcasts, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.